This is the Seahawkers podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Schultz, and I am joined by my good buddy, Adam Emmert, as our Seahawks fell to the stupid 49ers, 17-3. Adam, we were there at the stadium. I'm sensing that we need some sort of Hawker cleanse because our track record as of late, not so great.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, and we'll see what we need to do going forward. But clearly something has to change because that was a brutal loss to start out the season here against a division opponent, and kind of a bummer. Otherwise, it was a fun time. It was a great time otherwise at the stadium with all the little flockers that came. Really appreciate all you guys, and I'm sure we have a little bit to talk about here. I think we're both dragging a little bit. It was a lot of energy. We did our work there in the stands, and I can't wait to go back and rewatch it. Maybe can't wait's not the right word, but actually go back and rewatch it and get some of the more details here. But kind of some of your big thoughts, Brandon, out of the gate on the game.
Yeah, before we get to some big thoughts, why don't we start with our live executive producer, Samuel Gelber, coming in and being our executive producer tonight, kicking things off, saying, people will talk about Riq, but this is on the offense. You need to establish something, anything on offense before rolling out trick plays and tendency breakers. And maybe this is a good place to start because when you lose, obviously, Adam, you tend to place the blame on one side of the ball or the other, or gosh, if the 49ers lose, they'd be placing the blame squarely on special teams and Jake Moody. And I think Sam has this right because I feel like coming out of this game, I'm seeing a disproportionate amount of talk going in Riq Woolen's direction. And yeah, he gave up a long, deep pass down the sideline. Those tend to happen. There's the potential for a push off. I think he could have played through that push, maybe a little bit better, and then giving up or being right there for the game-winning touchdown. I think because those two plays happened so late in the game, especially after such a solid defensive performance, I understand why the blame's going in that direction, but I also I look at the points that the offense put up on the board, and 13 points. My mind goes there more than Riq.
If your defense holds your opponent, defense and special teams rather, hold your opponent to 17 points in a game, you got to win that football game. Like, you got to be able to score more than 17 points, and the Hawks only put up 13. We want to talk about Riq real quick here in terms of his late game performance. On the deep ball that he gave up, the guy runs a double move, and he actually sticks with him after the first move of the double move and is cruising downfield with him, but stops his feet. He just stops his feet. And I think he looked up and he was kind of like tracking the ball. Mm-hmm. And we've seen him do that occasionally in the past where kind of gets lost looking for the ball. It's like, just play the receiver, get your head around and knock that thing down, man, instead of trying to make the massive play, just make the routine play. And so he ends up giving up the big bomb there, and contract year for him, man. And that's not good tape to put out there if you're looking to get paid at the end of this year. And then in the end zone at the end of the game, he kind of jumps to break up or pick off the pass, but he kind of jumps backwards right, instead of just jumping straight up where I think he could have got a hand on it. And, it's a broken play, and that can get tough for corners and all that, but not two good plays by Riq. That's for sure, considering the defense had pitched a pretty good game up until that point.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so unfortunate, because I think if you had those couple plays happen earlier on in the game and they still give up 17 points, it doesn't feel like he lost it essentially for the Seahawks at the end of the game. And I just look at so many other moments where there were places where they failed to capitalize on, whether or not it was the blocked field goal, whether or not it was turnovers. Gosh, there was at one point in the game, and I feel like I haven't seen a whole lot of JSN blame going around. And I think part of it too is because he had such a huge offensive performance with 9 catches, 124 yards. I mean, out of Sam's 16 completions for 150, all of it but 26 yards went to JSN. But I think about the kind of the moment in the game that shifted for me was when the Seahawks were up, I think it was 13-10, and driving down the field, and JSN loses the football, turns it over, and that to me, that was the opportunity to really try and put the game away, and they end up giving it away. We got Northwest Gambit in as a member for 23 months.
Heck yeah, man.
Not the best way to start the season. Oof, he says.
Yeah, tough. You don't want to drop those division games early. And I mean, the NFL did that to a lot of teams this year, right? Make your division opponents right out of the gate. It was a game that was completely winnable, especially with Moody with the shanks. But yeah, just some moments along the way that would really have turned that thing. And that's kind of the story for every close game. But the JSN fumble, it'll be interesting to go back and see, exactly what happened there, because from our perspective, Brandon, we were in the opposite end zone on the opposite end of the field. So I don't know, if he just, coughed it up, or if it was punched out, or, the defense made a great play. I don't know what that looks like to blame JSN. But, one thing you do have to say about JSN's performance today is that, he showed that he can be that true number one without DK out there and without Tyler, and being the true focus of the offense. I mean, he was the one guy that was out there really producing. And you talk about guys to take the blame on offense. I mean, Cooper Kupp, he killed a drive late in the game when ball hits him in the hands on third down. Nice pass by Sam. And then if we're going to go around the board, I mean, let's talk about Sam for a minute. I was whelmed, to steal your phrase earlier today, that we had. Some ups, some downs. Not amazing, not a dumpster fire. But I don't know what your thoughts were on Sam after the game.
Yeah, it was, I guess I was expecting more, but I think a lot of it had to do with play calling too. There were so many short passes, and I guess that's where I was the most confused when it came to the offense. And I did see Sam saying here that JSN fumbled when it was 10-7, and yeah, that's correct. And he was holding the ball with one hand, trying to stiff arm a defender. But it was more so, not so much Sam as it was the offense. And it came down to all offseason, we'd heard about what this team was going to be, the kind of offense that they were going to run. And then I didn't see that. I saw that. Well, I can't say that I didn't see it, because I did see it on one drive where they, Charbonnet was in the backfield. They were running downhill, and that was one of their their only touchdown drive, right? So that's the one time that I saw it. And then everything else, it was like a lot of short passes behind the line of scrimmage. It was a lot of bouncing it outside, and K9 never got going around the outside. And when they tried to run it up the middle, there was nothing there. So I felt like I was told all offseason the type of offense that we were going to run, and then not seeing it is what disappointed me the most.
I don't know that it'll look that different than the offense that we were told that we would see. I mean, they were making a real attempt to run the football, and whether or not that showed up in week one or not, in your opinion as a fan, that's one thing. I mean, obviously, I think Charbonnet looked much better than Kenneth Walker did throughout the game. I'm not going to make excuses for Ken, even though I don't know that the holes were always there for him like they were for Zach. But with that said, like, Zach was the better back today.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
One of the things that I thought was interesting is just kind of the way they rotate him. Like, if Sharp's today's his day, and he's the guy that's toting the rock and doing a better job, quit breaking the continuity.
Right. Do we need 10 K9 carries if Zach is carrying it as well? And
great point.
I mean, the difference isn't that major. Although, I mean, to your point, if they're getting into a rhythm, then maybe that 12 for 47, maybe that turns into 16 or 17 for 80. And then the 3.9 average that Charbonnet finished with is closer to a 5-yard average. And then K9, 10 carries, 20 yards. You look at his 3 catches for only 4 yards. It just, there really was nothing there for him when the ball was getting in his hands. And then
Didn't get the tight ends involved at all.
Didn't get the tight ends involved. Cooper Kupp finishes 2 catches, 15 yards. I expected more from Kupp in this game.
I didn't. This is kind of what I like when I was thinking about Kupp in the signing in where he's at in his career. This is kind of what I was afraid of. Now, again, it's week 1. Let's not overreact. We'll see. Maybe, he has bounce back and all of that. But tight ends not being involved. You mentioned a lot of the stuff around the line of scrimmage in terms of the passing game. That was one of the things that, Sam hit JSN on 2 relatively deep balls, but for the most part, where are the shot plays? So you're trying to establish a run. You're doing all this stuff around the line of scrimmage, and everybody's coming up and they're sitting on these things. And that's the entire point of this style of play. Then you're running the play action and you're hitting something deep. Where's Torrey Horton? How come we didn't have any Torrey time in this game? That's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to show me a football Torrey. That's what I wanted.
Well, we didn't get to see Torrey Horton out on the field, but we did get to see one of our Seahawks draft picks out there, and we saw him out there relatively early. Derek Williamson in the chat saying, the weird one for me was why they threw Milroe into the mix so early.
Oh, that was bizarre.
Head scratcher.
Oh, Clinton about lost it too. And he's the one who's like, he's like, I want to see Milroe out there in the special package on a 2nd and 6 on the first drive. That's when we bring him out.
Yeah.
Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
It was weird. And I partly expected that then maybe they would bring out that same package later in the game to see if, they loaded the box on him, for instance, and then, maybe would see a pass down deep to either Torrey Horton or JSN. But it was just kind of, let's get our quarterback out there in Milroe for a random play early in the game, which I felt that, it was a successful play, but it ended up kind of killing that drive.
It feels forced.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And then you talk about some of the weirdness in the offense at points, and especially in the second half. I think it was 9 minutes left in the game or so, and they come out and they try like a boot one direction and then like a screen back the other way. It gets blown up. I can't remember what the second play is. And then on the third play, they do the double pass that bounces out of bounds. And it's like, I heard Mike in a press conference just here in the last week talk about the offense and like what it's going to look like. And he talked a lot about like, well, it's going to be as if the way we talk, we're going to go through things and we're going to be who we are. You got to continue to be who we are. And are you going to run reverses all the time, or are you going to be what you are? And then in that drive, it was all of these kind of misdirection type of plays, and it went nowhere at a critical point in the game. And that was super frustrating. That's the last thing I wanted to see. Like, don't get cute.
Right. Yeah. And they just, they got cute in a couple different times throughout this game to where, it didn't feel like that physical brand of football that I was anticipating. Let's see. We've got Saban Scent Studio in the chat saying Mariners scored more than the Seahawks today. Who'd have thunk? Yeah. Could the Mariners maybe given us 15 of those runs to count as points for this game? That would have been fine.
How many runs did the Mariners score today in their
18? They won 18-2. Like that, they scored more than enough. We could have used.
That's more excitement than probably the entire season. That's amazing. Like for the entirety of baseball, 18 runs in a game is a lot.
Nate Smeltzer saying disgusting loss, but hey, defense played well, and we had amazing special team play. We saw some returns. We did see Torrey Horton touch the ball on a return once.
True. I think he fair caught one as well. But yeah, special teams with the block, that was pretty cool with a struggling Moody. Shout out to the Niners fans that were like behind me and Clinton and my buddy James there. They were, they all had matching vests, which was a little weird, but other than that, they were a lot of fun. And but watching them just bemoan their kicker Jake Moody, that was a good time. And the special teams dominated, and which is interesting considering how much heat Jay Harbaugh was getting right. coming into this game.
Yeah, we were probably most worried about the special teams portion of the game, and that's not how it worked out today. Joe Van Tassel, not disappointed about the fact that our group section didn't have matching vests. No, he was Disappointed by the dysfunction on offense was surprising and very disturbing. What have they been doing all offseason? And this was another question that I was curious to get your take on, Adam. Did this team, especially on offense, maybe need some more preseason time?
Maybe. I honestly, my theory on the whole thing is I think every team should be putting their starters out there more in preseason and being ready to go week one, because you see, this is the ramification of the NFL. Sean McVay is at fault for this. Like, let's not get it twisted. He's the one who doesn't play anybody, all that stuff. And then they kind of work their way into the season as they have the last few years. You see all the other teams doing it as well. But yeah, it could only help. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not even mad about this game. I'm just disappointed. Like, it just
okay, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Do better, kids. That would be great. But with that said, I'm not going to freak out over this week one performance by the offense, because we've got a whole season coming along. We'll see how this grows and develops. But some of the bones were there. It was very conservative. I think that they could get out of their own way a little bit there and incorporate a few more shot plays. I think that would help them out a little bit.
More shot plays, and I don't know if we need as many of the short outside throws if we're actually running the ball with regularity and frequency. Like those to me are, if you're running those in place of running the football. And
No. Don't do that. I'm tired of bubbles. I've been tired of bubbles since Darrell Bevel. Like, no more catfish bubbles. I'm the anti-Dory on this stuff. Like, I hate it. But I'd like to see them get the tight ends more involved, especially in the intermediate passing game, because that was the place that I thought we'd see way more of, was in the intermediate passing game, especially with what Sam Darnold does well. He's not known for being a killer at the line of scrimmage, right?
Right.
Like, that's not his game. His game is in that intermediate passing game, and especially with a secondary for the 49ers that isn't full of a bunch of world beaters, especially at the safety position for them at this time of year as Mustafa's coming back and all of that. That was an area of the field I thought they'd attack way more.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I did expect them to attack that a lot more, and we really didn't see any of that. But we are seeing now Ryan 911 coming in with his live executive producer super chat.
Gotta share it with Sam.
You are sharing it with Sam today, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We can have more than one of you can share executive producership tonight. Ryan saying go Hawks. And we've also got Flocktimus Prime, who joined us live at the game.
Yeah.
Also did not get his own special vest as part of our group section. We got to think about that now that we've seen Niners fans do it. Maybe that's part of cleansing the Hawker. We have to all go in matching tracksuits. It's a potential. Maybe we all bring our own little cups of vanilla ice cream, because Flocktimus saying in the preseason, or if the preseason offense was vanilla, can we have some more vanilla, please?
Great comment by Keith, as always. No to the matching anything. Well, I won't do it. If that's the case, then I just won't go to games anymore. And not have to worry about our Hawker there. But going back to something Joe had said earlier in the comments, one of the things he had mentioned to me throughout the game too, there was a number of throws for Sam that just ended up kind of going to spots where nobody was there. And I don't know if it felt like early in the game, his clock was sped up just a little bit too much. And then towards the end of the game, he started to slow it down, was a little bit better. He did have the unfortunate fumble at the end of the game. He's on his backswing, as you would say in golf, and, hits Abe on the back. Am I going to kill Sam Darnold for that? Absolutely not. Like, that's just football. That's a bad break. Not going to kill him on that.
It's a tough time to have a bad break, though. And,
brutal.
Well, okay, you're not going to give any to Sam on that, but do you give any to Abe?
Lost the rep.
He lost, and in a critical time, too. He played so well all day, and really, they'd played Bosa well throughout the day. And
really,
then, in that time where it matters most, which is when those blue chip players tend to show up, that's where he gets the win, causes the fumble, and wins the game.
This is how you know we're the most fair Seahawks podcast in all the land. I'm not exactly a Darnold fan. I'm not killing him on that. Abe Lucas is my absolute favorite player on the team. That was his fault on that one. He takes the blame.
Yeah. Well, I'm also a canine fan, and I agreed that we probably needed to see him less on a day like today. Ryan 911 coming in saying, I felt like we found a groove on offense in the second quarter, and then we pivoted to some weird stuff in the third, came back in the fourth. And you talked about Sam throwing to spots, and I think there were a couple times, though, where that's really where he linked up well with JSN, is that he was throwing with anticipation to where JSN was going to be. And so to have that kind of connection early on and just in game one, like that's something I think that they can build off of now going into the game next week against Pittsburgh.
It's true. And kind of to your point of maybe preseason time and what are they doing in the offseason and all that, it is going to be a work in progress on the offensive side of the ball. We watched the defense come out. I thought they played fast. I thought they played downhill. I thought they made Brock Purdy's life hard. How many Purdy turdies did they come up with today? Like, that was awesome. But that's in Mike McDonald's second year running the defense with him and Aiden Dirty. So this is Kubiak's first year with this group and with this quarterback and this receiving core. And no, it was not perfect coming out of the gate in week one. Will it get better? Almost assuredly, yes.
We've got Spock B in the chat saying,
been a minute from Spock.
A little bit. Yeah. The defense needs to work harder on man-to-man and tight coverages, breaking off the ball. You mentioned the 2 picks. Yeah, the Ernest Jones interception, man, the way he reached up and high-pointed that football. And then you had the Job with the other interception. Like, you get 2 picks. You get 2 Purdy turdies, not to mention 2 field goal misses, 1 blocked. And to not, again, to go back to the idea
you should win this game going away.
Yeah, and to not capitalize by either turning it over yourself a couple times, not
stalling out on offense.
Right. Like, it was there. It was there.
It was there. Could have come away with a win against the stupid 39ers in week one. Instead, we fall to 0-1, 0-1 in the division. But again, week one, let's not overreact, and we'll see where we go from here.
Scott H. saying next week we got to go against A-Rod and out Metcalf, DK Metcalf. Flocktimus Prime coming in with the $12 super chat. Thank you, Flocktimus, saying thanks for the good food, the disappointing football, but most importantly, the great company. Yes, that you can't have a bad time when you go with a cool group of people to a football game, but like, you want to come away with a win.
Yeah, you do. But the camaraderie that we had with all of you little flockers that joined us today, it really did kind of make up for it for the most part. It was a lot of fun.
Michael Knight saying, so sad to have such amazing play on special teams and defense. Yeah, I think that's where it comes down to me. It's like the defense. Yeah, I can get frustrated with some of the coverages, some of the dink and dunk type stuff that they gave up. Even 1 or 2 big plays, like that you're going to end up giving up 1 or 2 big plays against a team. I mean, there were moments, especially in this game, where the pass rush on Brock Purdy was just not there. And giving him as much time as they did, they were able to, like, he could sit back and throw it down the field and pat the ball. And to have that much time in throughout the game to possess the ball as much as they did, like, I'm sure 49ers fans are looking at this game going, man, how did we not score 30 points with as much time as we were on the field?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I'm glad you brought up here is that you looked up midway through the third quarter and time of possession was double. It was like 30 minutes for the Niners and 15 for the Seahawks. And that wasn't because the defense wasn't getting it done. That was because the offense wasn't getting it done.
We've got Yokai Hawk in the chat saying, what was the final percent estimate for Niners versus Hawks fans at Lumen? And gosh,
to your eye, because we were sitting a long ways apart. We didn't talk about this, so I'm curious to what your number comes out.
Okay, well, I will say the majority of red that we saw in the stadium was behind the 49ers bench.
Correct.
If they were, and then when we got out on the street, even going in and out of the game, if it was 35% Niners, that would be a high estimate. It probably felt closer to 25-75 if that feels right. 25-75. I'm going with that. How about you?
Very good. Okay. Well, then we're not too far apart. I was thinking it was 30%-ish of the wrong people in the stadium. But with that said,
it was 50-50 in the freaking press box before we went to the game.
Oh, yeah. The restaurant, the press box?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it was worse than that. I think it was like we were a minority. Yeah. Which wasn't cool at all. But I think that's just where their meetup was. But
yeah, I know.
You're right. Yeah. Behind the bench, it was fairly solid 49ers fans. But once you got out of there, it looked to me that it was something like, 2 in every 10 or 1 in every 10 that were 49ers fans throughout the rest of the stadium. I don't know if other people agree. It'll be interesting to hear.
And Flocktimus saying 60-40 in the chat. And audibly, when I think of the noise, like the decibel level, like when we were cheering on offense, and to the point to where they were maybe the loudest in the fourth quarter when Sam had the ball and we were going down for that game-winning drive. Like, yeah, I heard them, but I don't think that it was. It
didn't affect the team. It didn't affect like that.
No, you didn't see them going silent or anything.
Yeah, it's not like the Chargers going silent count in their home stadium, right? Or the Raiders having to do that in Vegas.
So yeah, Dr. Strange, no, it wasn't 53% Niners like was said by the ticketing agency. And that to me, tickets on the secondary market and measuring that, maybe they were seeing 53% of the secondary market tickets going to Niners. But you have to think, if the majority of the stadium is season ticket holders and they're choosing to go to the game, it all depends on how many secondary market tickets there are. If there's 1,000 secondary market tickets and 50% of those go to Niners fans, well, then there's only 500 Niners fans going to the game. And that it's the percentages can be very,
One dumbass ticketing agency doesn't know all of the tickets that are being exchanged. Like they don't take into account, like, for example, Nemhauser on Hawkblogger, like his little ticket exchange that he's gone out and put his money into and done a good job with, right? Like they don't know that. They don't know every ticket. That's just the ones that flow through them. And I'm sure that it's no coincidence that the tickets that are sold, through the secondary market are going to an opposing team at that point. It's people that usually buy the tickets to be there and they have them and they decide, well, I can't make it for whatever reason, and they sell them.
Michael Knight in chat saying, Kittle gets hurt. Defense was amazing besides Riq, who was AWOL mentally. Just seems like this loss will haunt us this season. Hope I'm wrong.
I know.
It does feel like this loss could haunt us. I do want to say, though, Riq was not, while there were the two plays, he did have a touchdown saving tip at one point in the game, too. So Riq made some plays out there, and in coverage, they were having him follow Pearsall all day. He did not just play on one side of the field the entire game.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he was following Pearsall.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, look, the two plays, you're like, yeah, he had two bad plays. There were two disastrous plays in huge moments, right? Like, it's not just like he had two bad plays. Like, that really does sour the overall performance more than, I think you even said it earlier, as if they were earlier in the game or in less decisive moments. But
I just don't know if you can say that he's checked out mentally entirely when he also has a pass breakup on a pass to the end zone.
That's true. No, this game should have been a win. And could it haunt us later? Absolutely. It feels a little like the Rams game from last year. Like, we got another comment here that's got Brandon
it's just Ryan saying too soon, Brandon. People need to hate on Riq for a minute. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I'll try and bring in.
Yeah. Let him feel the rage.
Feel the rage. You should feel the rage after this loss.
Yeah. Checked out mentally. Didn't get it done. Don't even pay him.
Yeah. There we go. All right. Well, tough night for our Seahawks. And Joe
what did Sam Darnold finish with passing numbers wise?
Oh, I'll bring that back up. Before I get there, Joe Van Tassel saying we should be thankful the Niners don't have a catchy song chant like the Bills do.
No, they've got that catfish. That's the wrong word. I didn't say that word.
Ridiculous.
They got that stupid saying bang bang Niner gang.
That's true. I saw a dad carrying his child through the concourse, And I think he was trying to get his child's first words to be bang, bang, because he was walking with what I would think was maybe, a 12, 11 month old child. And he kept saying bang, 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 bang. And that's disappointing if that's what you're.
That's child abuse.
It does.
That's
I should have gone over and done a citizen's arrest. But Sam Darnold finishing the day 16 of 23, 150 yards, as I mentioned before. 26 of those distributed to other receivers not named Jackson Smith and Jigba. Just one sack, the long throw of 40, quarterback rating of 87.2. Okay.
I'll be interested to see what the average depth of target is later on.
No, that would. What does it feel like if you were just to guess based on this game? Okay,
low.
I'm going to take the under on 4.8.
Oh wow. Okay, so I was being generous there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. All right. Well, a big thanks to everyone for joining us live on this, a late Sunday night after we got to go out and hang out with the crew after the game, drive all the way back to the Airbnb, and get this set up just so we could go live a little bit late. So sorry for the East Coasters who may have been waiting for this post-game show, but we are out here on the West Coast enjoying a great time with our flockers and not so much enjoying the outcome of this 17-13 loss to the Niners.
Well, when I think about this, Brandon, and really start to break it down in my mind, I mean, there really hasn't ever been a team other than the 72 Dolphins to go undefeated. So I guess this just means 16-1, baby.
16-1, and we're going to the Super Bowl.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.